chairs, members. My name is Sam Paredes. Unfortunately, the comments that we have are going to be greatly reduced because of the time frame that we have, and you will hear much of our testimony in committee as we go through this process. But what I would like to do is just take a few minutes to respond to several of the inaccuracies that you have been presented here today. I think it's important that if you really want to address this issue, you need to be dealing from a factual position, and I'd like to point some of these things out. First of all, it's illegal for anybody to go and buy a handgun, a firearm of any kind in another state. If you cannot go to a dealer in Arizona, that, as has been testified in both of your committees, buy a AK-47 and come back to California. Federal law requires every licensed dealer to comply with the laws of the purchaser state, or else they are committing a felony. Nobody's being arrested for that. Dealers are not violating that law, so that's not the case. In New York, Governor Cuomo passed his assault weapons package with limiting high-capacity magazines to 7 rounds. Unfortunately, that law also limited police officers in the entire state. They are also limited under his present law. The preemption law here in the state of California, I am proud to say that our founder and chairman, Senator H.L. Richardson, was the sponsor of that issue. It was not an initiative. It was passed by this legislature in order to prevent the patchwork quilt of laws being rising up throughout the state of California, where law-abiding citizens would, by merely driving down the highway, be in violation of one county or city's laws. That's why the preemption law was passed. Proposition 15. Proposition 15 was an initiative to ban handguns in the state of California. It lost 2-1 in the state, had massive law enforcement support. With regards to National Rifle Association, Gun Owners of America, Gun Owners of California, our work to recruit members, to train youth in the use of firearms, recreational purposes, and all of the activities. Boy Scouts have been doing it since the beginning. We have offered, through our organizations, various safety programs that have been rejected by the state and by educational administrators, and this would be a very valuable thing that's for free. Databases. As of January 1st of this year, I'm glad that DOJ pointed out that we do have a database on all firearms purchasers, long guns, handguns, shotguns, whatever. Actions that have material effect on this thing. This is not some place where there was an inaccuracy. We very strongly believe that if you continue to work on issues that affect guns, ammunition, and law-abiding gun owners, you will continue to have the atrocities that we have seen, because none of these laws will impact those people who one day are normal and the next day are insane, are evil. They will not affect the acts of criminals. The purse strings. You folks with the budgets have done more to not give the Department of Justice the resources and our court systems to have the personnel, the hardware, and the software to be able to process all of these mental health records. California reports more mental health adjudicated people than any other state. But because they don't have the resources as far as getting them up on a timely basis to a database that's usable to our law enforcement, that doesn't exist. Fixed magazines. The issue of fixed magazines will ban all semi-automatic long guns and handguns. That might be what you intend to do. But be aware that if you require a law that requires fixed magazines, you are banning all of those guns. Mexican crime guns, Senator De Leon. There was a subsequent study conducted that pointed out that, whoops, we were wrong. It isn't 85%. As a matter of fact, we can't tell you how many they are because the Mexican law enforcement agencies do not trust the American law enforcement agencies, and they are not conveying the information as to where those guns are emanating from. And the fact that Mexican authorities, 5 different agencies, report the same guns to one reporting agency, and then they report that as the number. We have strong issue with that. I mentioned DOJ reporting to the courts. Guns are not only meant for killing. Understand, AR-15 platforms, AK-47 platforms are the single most popular gun in America that citizens are purchasing for all uses, for personal defense, for hunting, for recreational purpose, for target shooting. They are telling you why they need those guns and that they want those guns. Here in California, 1.3 million guns were sold in the state of California legally last year. Add that to the over 40 million that already exist in the state of California. Those are realities. 400 million guns owned in America. The Department of Homeland Security just purchased 7,000 AR-15 select firearms as personal defense weapons, justifying them as saying that they are the easiest to use in close quarters defense. So if it's good enough for Homeland Security, why shouldn't it be good enough for our law-abiding citizens? Guns in the home, I'm going to tell you this. I am one of those statistics where it wasn't, I wasn't 2 to 1 more able to be hurt by my own guns. I successfully used a firearm when I had an intruder in my own home. And I don't wish that on anybody. So when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you from firsthand experience. My last comment, with regards to affecting guns in the home, the Supreme Court of the United States in Heller versus D.C. and in McDonald versus Chicago made it plainly illegal, unconstitutional for you to do that. You cannot control whether people have guns in their home. You cannot control how they keep them, locked or disassembled. The court said that is unconstitutional, and McDonald said that that is incorporated by the states. And finally, as I pointed out before, as long as we concentrate on gun control and not talk about the issues that would that guide criminals and generate monsters, we will continue to have these issues, and you will continue to have hearings like this, and you will continue to work on affecting law-abiding citizens, and you will continue to miss the fact that it has no impact on criminals and the insane. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Paredes.
Yes.
We have been trying to get, as I said, a shared information base. If you would not mind submitting your testimony to us with the different bullet points, because it was hard to even take them down or remember them. And I am interested in following up. I know that the study that I have about the guns used in trafficking across the line in Mexico comes from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and it's dated April 26th of this year. But if you have a study that's more recent, we would like to know about it, and we can follow up on some of the other points as well. So you will submit those to us?
Yes, I will.
Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, I didn't have them in writing because it was in response to everything that was discussed here. And be assured that when we testify with regards to many of these bills, we will be here with key leaders of law enforcement and victims who do not want to see any of these laws passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other
thank you
questions?
for submitting
You don't have time.
that to us.
Another panel.
Yeah, Ms. Walton.
Real quick, one item that was brought up earlier in the hearing was this concept of licensing the ability for folks, anyone who wanted to purchase a gun, to license that. Since the first, second, and all our Bill of Rights were created to defend our constitutional rights, it was disturbing to me personally, but I wanted you to address this concept of licensing a right when, you know, on one hand we can license people to drive a car, but that's not a protected right under the Bill of Rights. The concept of doing that is something I would like you to address as well. And then also the fact that, which is a fact, that these shooters that we see with the mass gun violence are already breaking so many existing laws, many of which include being underage, being mentally ill, bringing a firearm onto a school campus, which was considered a gun-free zone, all of these things. How would you address that enforcement of existing laws? If we can't even do that, why are we looking at putting more on?
Yes, everything that you have pointed out is absolutely accurate. There is a big question whether you can license a constitutional right, and like it or not, there is a difference between driving and owning a firearm in the United States of America. Driving is not a constitutional right. There is a Second Amendment to the Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution that says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It has now been defined as an individual right by the United States Supreme Court in 2 separate decisions that bind states and local governments as well. So that's an issue that, you know, everybody said, go to court and figure it out. Okay, we already did, and we figured it out. You want to go again? Let's do it. And we'll see what happens. And so far, SCOTUS is on our side. So